Hello, welcome to Stamp Designs with Denise. I'm Denise Johnson, an independent demonstrator with Stampin' Up, coming to you from Bedford, New Hampshire. It's very, very rainy today. I am in my office and my bedroom is right next to where the downspout is, so the rain is really, really loud. So I'm hoping it's not going to interfere. I don't think it will with my video today. I don't think you'll be able to hear it. But yeah, it's raining pretty hard today. So we did have a gorgeous weekend. I hope everybody had a wonderful Thanksgiving. I did actually have my 3 children home for Thanksgiving. 2 of them live here, so it was just my daughter that came in with her boyfriend. So it was nice, smaller than usual. Definitely missed seeing friends and that sort of thing over the weekend, which we would normally have done. So I hope everybody is well, and last day in November, so gearing up for December and all the holidays and all the happenings. So I hope by now you've planned out your Christmas cards and are making them and getting them done. I went to the post office this morning and I actually had to wait outside in line, about 4 people, and there were 6 people in line inside. So they're being pretty strict about limiting the people that are inside there. So let me just make sure that I did actually go live. Yep, I can see that it is, so that's good. And if you're watching this, please give me some thumbs up, make some comments. I do send out the cards that I make to people that make comments. Everyone gets entered into a raffle, and then I choose a winner. I can't send everybody cards, but so I'm a little behind, but Paige won the raffle. She commented when I made the cards that I had cased the catalog with, so Paige will be getting these in the mail. Make another trip back to the post office here soon in the next few days. And then Jennifer left a comment on Facebook about my paper pumpkin that I had done using the Jolly Gingerbread, so she'll be getting some of these cards. And then I also sent a quick note to Joe Petty, who commented on YouTube. So for commenting on YouTube, she will also get some of these cards if she sends me a private message and tells me what her address is. Everybody else I have the addresses of already. And then Jamie commented on the Warm and Toasty, which I had done a couple weeks ago. So Jamie will be getting these cards in the mail. So thank you. I appreciate your comments and your support in watching my videos. So today we're going to be making, if you still haven't designed your cards yet, or you're still looking for some more ideas, you have a few more you want to make, I hope that the cards I make today you'll find to be pretty easy, using some designer series paper and then some sentiments. So how about if we get this camera flipped around and I will show you what I have for you today. Okay, so let me make sure you're centered okay. Looks pretty good. And let's get some housekeeping stuff out of the way. December's paper pumpkin kit is very comforting. It has enough supplies to create 12 comforting cards and coordinating envelopes. Cute little bears, so I'm looking forward to getting that. The deadline to subscribe is December 10th. The Curvy Celebrations is still going on. They pre-released the Quite Curvy stamp set and the curvy dies, and then for December only now, you can purchase the Curvy Christmas stamp set and the designer series paper. And I just happen to have a card. My team did swaps last week, so this is one of the cards that I got from Vicky, and so she used those curvy dies and the stamp set, the Curvy Christmas stamp set, and created this card. So I do have some other swaps that I got that I'm going to just share with you really quick. This was the Poinsettia card. Some of them had names. Oh, the inside is very pretty too. She May magic and wonder bloom this holiday. So very nice card. I don't think I know who sent that one. This card is from Barbara Pike. It's the fireplace, and she made it into a really fun fold, so it's really pretty. So that's also a great set. A little bit of work went into getting that card all together. That's definitely an avid stamper. Here is the Gnome for the holidays. This is, I love this little set. We're actually going to be making a card today using this set. This card was from Kay Caps, and she did a fun fold. I've done videos before showing the triangle fold. So this is the Snowflake Splendor, I believe is the stamp set on that. And then she put a little place on the inside for your sentiment, because she had embossed, I don't know if you can see, she had embossed that with the snowflake embossing folder. Very nice. And then this is a card. This uses the Dandy Garden, which is a new set coming out in January. And as demonstrators, we were allowed to pre-purchase it when we had our on-stage at-home convention. So this comes with a dragonfly punch, and that is the card made using that, which brings me to my next. If you join Stampin' Up! As a demonstrator, you can, tomorrow, the January catalog actually goes live, and I get to pre-order out of that. So these are the celebration starts in January, and then the January to June mini catalog. And as you can see, I've got all my pages marked of some of the items I want to be able to purchase next week. So purchase tomorrow, actually. So I'm looking forward to trying out some new products, which I'll be happy to share with you. And let us move on to our first card now. So I have my little bucket of goodies. We're going to use the Heartwarming Hugs Designer Series paper on this card. And the stamp sets that I have are the Tree Angle and the Itty Bitty Christmas. And then these are all of our card parts. So this is using a bunch of Designer Series paper strips. All of my strips are 1/2 inch long. I have a Mossy Meadow card base. I have the Whisper White envelope. I have 2 Whisper White layers. They are 4 by 5 1/4. And then I have some scrap Mossy Meadow, a scrap piece of the Whisper White. We're also going to be using Wonderful Gems, the Real Red braided twine. And then I have some punches. We're going to do the Story Label punch and the Label Me Fancy punch. And then our color that we'll be using will be Real Red. So let me make some room here. So I just took the Designer Series paper out, and I used a bunch of the scrap pieces that I had in there, because when we make cards, we end up with a lot of random pieces. So these are all 1/2 inch strips. They're different lengths. And we're kind of going to make it maybe look like a little bit like a quilt. So I'm going to use my glue. And hopefully this won't be too messy. And I'm just going to lightly put glue all the way around this layer. Again, it was 5 1/4 by 4. All my measurements will be on my blog. And this video will contain a link to the blog. Okay, let me get a piece of paper towel, just in case I start getting glue everywhere. So what I'm going to do first, I'm going to find one of my longer pieces, and I'm going to do this right across. And it's going to hang over the edge, and then we're going to go back and trim it. So I'm going to do maybe like 3 or so. The reason I like the glue for this is because I can put it down. It's not long enough. I need a longer piece. Here's a longer piece. I can put it on and then it kind of slides and moves. It has a little bit of forgiveness so that I can get it nice and flush up against it. Now, let's see if I have a long red piece that I can use. Nope, all my pieces seem to be shorter. Here's a piece. So I'm just going to keep layering these. So I've got like 3 going this way, but now I want to change my angle, so I'm going to come down and do this. And again, I'm just putting it in flush. Let's get some different pieces of paper, and all papers are double-sided, so you can choose the other side, get a different pattern going. One of these here. So now I'm going to start coming off this way on this one. There's a little piece. I'm going to stick that one there. Okay, let's see. So now I'm going to come up over this way and do this one off the top. So like I said, this really is a great way to use up a lot of those little scraps of paper. And these papers, the designer series papers are really good because they're made that they coordinate, the whole set just coordinates so nicely together. Let's see. Okay, now I know I have some empty spaces still. These little corners are still empty, but so what we're gonna do, and let me get my big scissors. These are Stampin' Up! Scissors that I bought years and years ago, and they don't sell the nice big ones anymore, but sometimes, I love my little paper snips, but sometimes these big ones are nice. So I flipped it over, and this is the back side, so I'm just gonna come right along the edge here and trim this to the size of my 4 by 5 1/4. So I'm just very carefully going all the way around and just trimming it. Okay, and so now we have these little corners. Let me just add a little bit of glue to each one and see if we can put some papers in there. Let's see, we'll cover that one up with that. And that, okay. It looks like now I've got the whole front filled in. See, it's sort of a nice little patchwork quilt look to it. Let me just move my scrap pieces here out of the way. Put them back in my envelope. And I have them already cut and ready for another card. So now we're going to add our, let's see, I think I'm going to tie my braided trim around the middle here. It's probably about 16 inches of twine or so that I use when I wrap around the whole card. And just trim the ends a little bit. And let's see, let's get this layered on our card base, and then we'll do our stamping. Okay, so let's see, for my front sentiment, I have this Merry Christmas and Happy New Year, which comes from the Itty Bitty Christmas stamp set. And we're using real red. So stamp that nicely right there. And let's get all our stamping done. And then I have, for the inside, I have Happy Wishes to You and Yours, which comes from the Triangle stamp set. So you can use any sentiments you want. I just tried to find sentiments that I thought best represented me and my feelings and thoughts. But you know, all stamp sets come with different sentiments, and they appeal to different people. So this is a little set of 3 ornaments, and this also comes from this triangle. I just wanted to do something on the inside of the stamp, inside of the card, and add that in there. And then I'm also going to actually add this to the outside of our, put that in that ink. Okay. So I didn't really ruin it, but you know what we could do is, I don't have a piece with me, but what I will do is actually cut out a piece of designer series paper, put that right over, that will cover that up, and no one will even know that we made a mess out of it. And then we do have our little ornaments right on the front. So that's how I will fix that. And so this is our, let's get this punched out. This is our sentiment for the front. And so I punched that out with the Label Me Fancy punch. And then for my, here it is, my Garden Green, my Mossy Meadow, I'm going to punch that out with the Story Label punch. And we're going to layer these. I like to layer my punches sometimes. It just sort of gives it a different look, a different depth. And they're not all matchy-matchy, so it's nice to do it that way. Let's see. Let's attach this inside our card. And use some dimensionals. And I'm going to put this on the front, right over our ribbon. And we can tape on our sentiment. So I hope you like this card. I know it looked complicated with all the papers and stickers, but I hope you saw how actually pretty quick and easy that went together. And then that's our finished card. And like I said, I'll I'll get some designer series paper, cover the back flap of that, and that'll cover and fix our mistake on our envelope. So let me put that aside. Oh, and then I did make this, and so on this one, I wanted to try, I used the green foil as the background piece, and then I left a space between my strips so that you could see the green foil. So this uses the Feels Like Frost designer series paper, and I just thought this was super sparkly. Oh, which reminds me, on this one we had the wonderful gems, and we should add some sparkle to this card as well. There, let's see, where are we gonna see it? Because it's red. Maybe over here. There we go. So anyway, so I just thought that was different. I mean, you could do a different background color in there. I had the green foil that I hadn't tried yet, so I wanted to do that. So very, very shiny card on that. And again, I used the same type of labels, and then I used actually the, this was a ribbon from Halloween, the Halloween set. I forget what that was called. So that's another option with that. Okay, let's get this cleaned up, put away, and we will move on to our next card. Put my stamps away so they don't get ink everywhere. Okay, so our next card is going to use Gnome for the holidays. Like I said, I love these little gnomes. They're really cute. Some people don't like gnomes, but I do. So I really was happy when I saw this set in the catalog. We're also going to be having the Wrapped in Christmas for the sentiment. And then I got out my Snowman Season because I wanted to use these little snowflake stamp set. So I'm using a lot of different stamp sets on one card, but you know, we all own a lot of different stamp sets, and it's nice to mix and match them sometimes. So this is going to be a purple and blue card. As you can see, I have my card base. It's 8.5 by 5.5, scored at 4 1/4, and this is Highland Heather. Let's get that. And then I have a piece of the Snowflake Splendor Designer Series paper from this paper set. And this is 4 by 5 1/4. I have a piece of the Whisper White, which will be inside of our card, which is 4 by 5 1/4. I have the Whisper White envelope. I have some scrap pieces. I believe these are 1/2 inch wide. Those are going to go inside. And then I have, this is 2 by 4 inches. And we're going to actually stamp on the Designer Series paper. And then for some bling, I have the adhesive back snowflakes and my blue adhesive backed gems. So we're going to do our stamping first. So I have Basic Gray and Highland Heather, and I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to punch this card first. This is the Banner Triple Punch, so that I know how much of this is being punched off. There we go. And using the Basic Gray, I'm going to stamp my Snowflake Gnome on this Designer Series paper, sort of down near the bottom of that. Okay, and then from that same stamp set, the Holly Jolly Everything Sentiment. And we'll do that in Highland Heather. And then for the inside of the card, I liked this sentiment, let the joy of the season fill your heart, and that came from the Wrapped in Christmas. So this is my 4 by 5 1/4 Whisper White, and I'm going to put that right in the middle. That'll go inside the card. And also, like I said, I have those little snowflakes that came from the snowman season, and we're going to stamp some of those down there, and then we're also going to decorate our envelope with those. There we go. Now put these away before I get ink on anything else. And our envelope's done. For the inside of the card, remember I had these little strips. I'm actually just going to take one. It's 4 inches long by 1/2 inch, and I'm going to just put it across, and then that'll just bring the designer series paper from the outside of the card to the inside of the card. And it's a nice little thing to do with these extra pieces of paper that you end up with and don't know what to do with. Okay, so that's done, and then we have our little guy here, and I have some stamping blends, Highland Heather, the Smoky Slate, and then the Petal Pink. And I'm going to kind of just quickly color him in. I'm not going to worry about doing any of the shading or anything like that. You can go back after and do that, but because he's going on the designer series paper, the colors aren't as pure as they would be if you did it on Whisper White. And then we're just kind of gonna fill in his beard here. So we will do this sort of two-tone, the lighter and the darker color. So there we go, there's our gnome all colored in. So as you can see, you can stamp on the designer series paper too. And what I wanted to do with this is to add a little extra element to this card is I have my Terran tape. This is a very strong adhesive. It's great for when you do 3D projects and whatnot. I'm going to run it down the side of this piece here, and then I'm going to put sort of a ribbon ruffle coming down the side. So I have this Whisper White ribbon, which is part of the Flowers for Every Season pack. It has this Just Jade gingham in it, and then it also has some Misty Moonlight Baker's Twine. And so what I'm going to do is start here at the top where I put my Terran tape, and I'm going to kind of just keep folding this ribbon over and attaching it to that Terran tape, and it's going to give me a little ruffly ribbon on the edge.
So this will add a little bit of bulk to the card, but not too much. This ribbon's pretty thin and pliable, so it should be okay if you're mailing it. I have run really nice mail person at my local post office, and then there's another person there who, I don't know, she always seems to think that my packages are bigger than they are and not mailable and not bendable. She tends to give me a hard time every time I go there, and I feel like she charges me a lot more than the other guy that's there that does. But I know they work hard. It's a very busy time of year for everybody. Okay, so see how I did that? So now there's this ruffle, and I just attached it to that. And if you wanted to secure it extra, you could get some tape and put it just down the edge like that if you needed to. I think it was okay. I think the tear and tape will hold it. And then we are going to use dimensionals. And so, oh, and here's another good tip. So I used all my little squares, and you don't waste this. You know this. You just cut the edges up, and you use the edges. And it gives you a lot more dimensionals. Don't waste anything. There we go. So you definitely want to attach this with dimensionals just because of the ruffle. It does add that extra height to it, and the dimensionals will help even that out then. So I'm going to line this up on the top of my designer series paper, right like that. Attach this to our card base. And insert our inside sentiment. There we go. And we have our envelope done. And that's our card there. So let me just clean up the rest of this stuff. Oh, I did make another card using the same layout. I didn't do the ruffle on it, but so see, I used the Poinsettia Place Designer Series paper. So my background paper, and then I did the 2x4 banner and punched it out, and then I actually fussy cut one of the flowers from a different sheet of paper. This one had the small flowers that I used for my background, and then I cut out a bigger one there. And then for the greenery, I used the Peaceful Bows bundle, and that's where the sentiment came from as well on that. And then on the inside, I added some more of those bows. I cut out another flower, and then my sentiment is from the Peaceful Bows. So that's the same layout, just using a different stamp set and designer series paper. So let me clean up a little bit here, and then, and again, I keep forgetting to add my sparkle. So let's see, I have these blue adhesive dots. So I'm going to put some of those maybe right in the middle of these snowflakes on this. There. And then I have these snowflakes, and I will put them around my little gnome. There we go. So there's some sparkle for our card. Now I can clean this up and we'll get out the stuff for our next card. Okay, so our last card uses those are my measurements so I don't forget. We have Misty Moonlight 8.5 by 5.5, scored at 4 1/4. Then I have a piece of Designer Series paper, which comes from the Trimming the Town paper pack. And so I'm using this one with the littler house, and then I fussy cut out a house from the bigger sheet of paper that had bigger houses on it. And we have our Whisper White envelope. We have an inside layer, which was 4 by 5 1/4. That'll go inside our card. I have some more of that Whisper White ribbon from the Flowers for Every Season. And then I also have some of that Misty Moonlight Baker's Twine, which is part of that same set. And this has a little bit of a silver sparkle in it. And then we're going to use some rhinestones. And then I have 2 pieces of scrap paper. This is Misty Moonlight, and this is 2 1/4 by 4 1/4. And my Whisper White is 2 1/8 by 4 1/8. So I'm going to actually attach this house first so that, maybe not. I'm going to do my stamping first, so that if I don't get it on there right, I can flip it over and I don't have my house attached. So this sentiment, From Our House to Yours, also comes from that Itty Bitty Christmas, and I'm doing that in soft suede right down there on the bottom. And then I have Poppy Parade, and I have Christmas Cheer. And I'm going to do that right on top of that, like that. And I'm going to stamp the inside of our card. So for that, I'm using some sentiments from the Little Treats. I wanted the Ho 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 Merry Christmas and the little Santa hat. So we'll do our sentiment first in the Poppy Parade. And then our Santa hat is going to go right there. And then my envelope, I'm going to put the Santa hat on that as well. Okay, that's all of our stamping. So now I'm going to layer this. So I did actually also cut out a tiny little wreath. I thought the front of my house needed something. So I fussy cut this out from the Designer Series paper. There's whole sheets that have just wreaths all the way over them. So I cut that out so that I could put that right on my house. So let's find a mini dimensional. And we'll put that right in the middle of our windows. I just thought my house needed a little bit of decoration. And then we'll attach this to the Misty Moonlight layer. And using some more dimensionals, we'll put our house on there. There we go. And so for this, I'm going to attach my ribbon here. And let's see. Put a little tape on either side because I want to make sure this goes on straight. Maybe about 1/3 of the way up. There we go. And then I'm going to take my Misty Moonlight baker's twine and I want to tie a bow with that. And that's again probably about 16 inches or so to go all the way around, wrap around the card and make a bow. There we go. Let me just trim my tail a little bit. And our house is going to get attached right there with some more dimensionals. Put that right on the front. It looks like I did it just a little crooked. There we go. Attach this to the front of our card base. And then the inside of our card. And I'm not going to forget this time. I'm going to add my sparkle. I have the Rhinestone Basic Jewels. And the nice silver just brings out some of the silver that's in that baker's twine. So there we go. There's that card. And then using that same layout, I use that Poinsettia Place Designer Series paper again, and I fussy cut. And then for this, I used, the stamp set was the Tag Buffet, which had that greenery in it, the sentiment, and then the inside sentiment is also from Tag Buffet. And as you can see, I use that half strip of paper on the inside of here again to bring some of that outside element into the front. And then I use the embroidery ribbon on that. So same layout, just using a different Designer Series paper on that. So I did have one more thing to share with you that I did with some fellow demonstrators. I made this 9x9 sampler. And so there were 8 other people, 8 other demonstrators and I, and so we each made one square. So I made 9 of these squares. And the rule had to be that the outside layer had to be the real red, and it's 2 by 5/8 inch square. And then I had to have the Whisper White layer, and that is 2.5. And then we could use any stamp set that we wanted to, any sentiments, decorate it any way that we wanted to. So I made 9 of these and sent 8 of them out to 8 different people. And then in return, they sent me the squares that they had made. And I was able to put together this 9x9 sampler of all these different sets. And I don't have all of these sets, so it was really cool. It was really interesting to see what people did. Nobody used the same one. We didn't have to say what we were using, and nobody used the same set. Everything was different. So this one is the Wishes and Wonder bundle. This one is the Snow Wonder bundle. This is Poinsettia Petals. This is the Dove of Hope. This is the Ornamental Envelopes, the one I made. Peaceful Bows. This is the Menagerie Mix-Up bundle. Those are those Gnome for the holidays. And then this is Triangle. So I just thought it was a really cool thing to do, really fun. And honestly, I mean, it didn't even take me more than maybe less than an hour to make all 9 of mine and mail them out. And then in the end, I ended up with this really interesting sampler of all different kinds of Christmas stuff. And for my background paper, I used that greenish paper is from the Poinsettia Place Designer Series paper. I could have done a plain or just a plain green, but I thought the Designer Series paper was cool to do it on. So I just wanted to share that with you, something a little bit different and unique. And now I have this really nice Christmas decor to put up in my house. So let me get out all the cards that we made. This was our first card with the 1/2-inch strips of Designer Series paper. And then this was the other one I made that had that green foil behind it. This is our Gnome for the holidays. And I had done that ruffle trim with the ribbon behind that. And then this is my alternate of that, where I fussy cut out the poinsettia and did the peaceful bows. And then this was the last card where I did Trimming the Town Designer Series paper. And my alternate was also with the Poinsettia Place. So I think that was all I had to share with you. Thank you so much for watching today. Remember to please leave comments, ask me any questions. All of my measurements will be on my blog, and I will have a link to that in this video. If you're placing an order in the month of December, here is my December host code. If your order is over $150, though, don't use the host code. Get the rewards for yourself. And remember to leave a little sparkle wherever you go.